So I wasn't going to do another Whack-A-Mole so soon. This is Whack-A-Mole number 85, compact disc edition, and I picked 10 instead of 5, like the normal vinyl Whack-A-Moles. Some people have asked what kind of coffee beans I use. I am very specific on my beans. Usually I buy my beans through my friend Julie, who has 2, soon to be 3 cafes in Seattle called Real Fine Coffee. 2 in West Seattle, 1 opening soon, and another in the Capitol Hill area of Seattle. But occasionally I order from one of my favorite places in San Francisco and San Rafael that have been around North Beach, San Francisco for decades, for over 50 years. And that's Grafeo. They have a dark roast and a light roast, and I love their dark roast, espresso dark roast, and it's just great. So occasionally I order by mail. Now, ordering coffee beans by mail, I just want to tell you something. Ordering coffee beans by mail is safe. It is safe, and I just don't want anybody to who might have some conspiracy theories saying how coffee beans, ordering them by mail is not safe. So you get the bean, they're fairly fresh. I mean, sure, occasionally there will be a light roast bean thrown in with the dark roast, and there's always going to be a little bit of error, but they count for that. And I check my beans when they arrive, and I double check them, and I know that coffee beans by mail is safe. So here's my morning Grafeo. Delicious. So let's go. A couple little news items here. First of all, in the background, very lightly in the background, is the great Big Spiderbeck, Louisiana. These were from the 1920s around to about 1930. Great jazz, trad jazz music. 'Cause I love Big Spiderbeck. I love this period of the 30s, 20s, 30s. You don't see a lot of it here in the vinyl community, but I highly recommend early jazz musicians. Big Spiderbeck. And it's not Spiderbeck, it's Big Spiderbeck. B-B. Does sound like Spiderbeck, doesn't it? Woody Allen uses a lot of this music in his film. So, without further ado, one other thing, my music porn arrived yesterday in the mail. The thick Music Direct catalog. Those of you who buy from Music Direct know their high-end audiophile equipment, plus just all records. You can buy records from them. They're not usually discounted, although they have sales. A lot of the mobile fidelity, like the ultra discs, are listed in here. I'm looking forward to a mobile fidelity of that record. It's a mono version of the Young Rascals Groove, and a fantastic record. And If I Can Only Remember My Name by David Crosby. Anyway, plenty of stuff here, $20,000 phono cartridges, but also cheap stuff. It's not all expensive, but it's beautiful if you want to sit around and you're tired of looking at your normal porn and you just want to look at cabling, music, gear, cabling, music. So Music Direct, you can go online and probably request a catalog. And Paul Simon from his first solo album. Okay, I'll do 5, and then I'll do 5 more. That equals 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The first 5 CDs. Now this is weird. Why do I have a CD without a cover? Oh, it's a promo. Now, Digital Gramophone and the Long Cut will probably freak out about this. They might even have a little premature, never mind, J. Farrar, Advance. J. Farrar. Release date, June 8th, 2004, catalog number, promo. Oh, this is a promo copy I got, yeah. So it didn't have a cover. This is Stone, Steel, and Bright Lights. And this is on Artemis Records. So, you know, the country, the whole Uncle Tupelo, Wilco, the whole clique of the Jayhawks and all those kind of things that those channels sing about, J. Farrar. Maybe one of you, maybe Chris, the long cut, you might want this. You know, $500, it's yours in your collection. So that's all I'm going to say about that, because I don't want to say too much, since this advanced promo copy of a J. Farrar record might be valuable to someone like you. The great Scout Niblet. This is an artist that the archivist turned me on to. Great record. This is, let's see, which one is this? You know, sometimes on these records, it's hard to read the typeface. Beautiful little book inside. Now, I've done a little mini features on artists like Scout Niblet. Scout Niblet is a British woman who now lives in Portland, Oregon. Minimal, freak folk, post-punk a little bit. She plays guitar, drums very intensely, sloppy, almost sings, although she does some intimate, soothing, melodic ballad type things. Bonnie Prince Billy sang on a couple of her songs. But beautiful, I wouldn't say beautiful, but really interesting. Amongst some of my favorites of the 2000s, early 2000s. Really nice. This one is called Calcination. Sounds like calcination, but it's in that kind of script like Neil Young writes, so you can't read it. But love that cover. She is also an astrologer, so you can have your chart done by her. I think it's like $150, $250, and you can get a full chart reading by Scout Niblet. Talk about a title of a record that sort of emulates the times, unfortunately. Viva Hate by Morrissey. This is a great Morrissey album. Little Man, What Now? Little Man, What Now? That's a great title. Now, the song that I fell in love with on this album, and I still love to this day, it's just an epic, beautiful song, is Every Day Is Like Sunday. And I think this was it 1985, 84, 85-ish? Great record. Suede Head is on here. Hairdresser on Fire. This might be Morrissey's best solo album. I love this record. Cowboy Junkies, 21st Century Blues, early 21st Century Blues. Cowboy Junkies, I've said this on my channel before, I saw them at the American Music Hall, and one of the best sounding shows I've ever seen. They played at such a low volume, and it was like a great, the great depth of a great audio system where you hear the dynamics, and you're sitting back, and you're in your quiet listening room in your sweet spot. It was like that, but live. And I'd never heard live music quite like that. It's the, there's some covers on here. They do License to Kill, the Bob Dylan song. A U2 song, One, which is one of my favorite U2 songs, actually. Isn't It a Pity by George Harrison. So they do a lot of later artists, or pop artists, I should say. Usually when you say early blues, you're thinking of the blues classics, the Robert Johnsons, the Muddy Waters, artists like that covering, but this is different. You're Missing by Bruce Springsteen, 2 Springsteen songs. Michael Timmons, there is one original. The Timmons brother-sister duet. She's just a great, great vocalist on this. So this is a really nice record. What year did this come out? I don't even remember what year this came out, but it's a beautiful record, and I highly suggest pretty much anything by the Cowboy Junkies. I think I have almost all the records on compact disc, and I think I have 2 on vinyl. Cowboy Junkies. This is either his last or second to last album prior to his unfortunate demise, but it's a great Gil Scott-Heron. This is I'm New Here, Gil Scott-Heron. This is a fantastic record. I have a vinyl version of this as well, and this is just really wonderful. This is from 2016, so I believe this came out, you know, within a year before he passed on. Of course, Gil Scott-Heron, you know, the father of hip hop, the father of rap in a way, beat poet, stylings, Black America, African America. The revolution will not be televised, obviously, was his initial piece of music art that really got him over the top and got him known. Incredible artist, incredible poet, really great. Gil Scott-Heron. So, the next 5. One, 2, backhanded Maslowian flip. 3, 4, 5. Totally random, nothing up my sleeves. This is totally legit. Mail order beans are safe. Oh, James Brown at the Apollo. Oh, God. One of the great live soul albums at all time. This is a CD version, Apollo presents James Brown, voted number 1 R&B star of 1962. I mean, if you don't know this record, you don't know soul music. An incredible performance, just the audience goes crazy over him. This is expanded CD version that has some extra tracks, single mixes of a medley of I Found Someone, Why Do You Do Me, I Want You So Bad, Lonesome, Lost Someone, and I'll Go Crazy. The great introduction to James Brown, an incredible record. James Brown live. I did see him live at the Stone on Broadway in San Francisco. One of the most incredible shows I had ever seen, and this was in the late 80s. So, you know, God, James Brown, friggin' incredible, fracking incredible. This is a twofer from Collector's Choice. My friend Vernon worked for Koch Distribution. I'd get a lot of CDs for him, promo CDs. Collector's Choice did a lot of double CDs. This is one of their double CDs of the Limelighters. Limelighters were a great folk group in the late 50s, early 60s. And this is the Limelighters and the Limelighters London concert. Of course, a great cover picture on there of them crossing the Golden Gate Bridge. Interesting how the Limelighters, their Songs for Children album is one of those sense memory things I can remember like it's 60 years ago. I think I was in kindergarten or first grade, and that's one of the records the teachers were bringing. We'd get a lot of folk records, I realized. We had like Woody Guthrie records they play for us, Burl Ive records, you know, The Fox Went Out on a Chilly Night, Pray for the Moon to Give Him Light, plenty of da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da, day-o, day-o, day-o. You know, that kind of folk shit, the folk scare shit of the early 60s. They would brainwash us unsuspecting children. But the Limelighters are a great trio, great folk traditionalists, not political, but just, you know, great stuff. And San Francisco was a hotbed for folk music. Places like the Hungry Eye, the Purple Onion, where folk and comedy artists came through. So this is a fun collection. I don't listen to a lot, but there's my punched promo copy from my good buddy Vernon. Herman's Hermits, starring Peter Noone, Greatest Hits Live. Peter Noone, you know the Hermits, No Milk Today, Henry VIII I Am, It's a Kinda Hush. Great songs, great pop songs from 64, 65, part of that first British invasion. And Peter Noon actually got a resurgence during the VH1 years, right after MTV was big in the 80s, VH1, he was one of the hosts. This is a record he did, and my friend Larry, my buddy Larry, my late buddy Larry, it's really sad. I keep between Vernon and Larry passing in the last several years. But this is autographed to Norman Cheers, Peter Noon, 2001. So he signed this for 2001. I think Larry saw him at some event or saw him perform and got this for me. So thank you, Larry, for this. And of course, this has live versions of him doing I'm Into Something Good, Wonderful World, Listen People, Dandy. I first heard Dandy by the Hermits. I didn't realize it was a Kink song. I didn't hear the Kink song till after that. The great pop single, A Must to Avoid, No Milk Today, written by Graham Gouldman. Graham Gouldman wrote that, No Milk Today, and he wrote several songs that they did also. And of course, he wrote For Your Love for the Yardbirds, and they would become a member of 10cc. Ferry Cross the Mercy, which they didn't do live originally. That was a Jerry and the Pacemaker song, but that's on here as well. And of course, a lot of songs from the period, like End of the World, Needles and Pins, that was a Searcher song, Needles and Pins, There's a Kind of Hush. Kind of a fun record. Then we're going into the Duane Eddy anthology, one of the great guitar players, great rock and roll guitar players, Duane Eddy. This is from a Rhino collection. This is the second disc, disc 2, The Ballad of Paladin, Half Gun Will Travel, the TV Western of the early 60s. Half Gun Will Travel is a story of a man. Peter Gunn theme is on here, Road Race, Play Me Like You Play Your Guitar. I mean, one of the great twangy guitar players of the early 60s, mid 60s, incredible artist. I think Duane Eddy is one of those artists that everybody who wants to have a great specimen collection of rock and roll should have in there. You know, there's certain guitar players of rock and roll, aside from the Ventures and the Shadows from the UK, but Duane Eddy is right up there, a must. And lastly, Squeeze, Some Fantastic Place. You know, my favorite Squeeze album is probably Cool for Cats, the song Cool for Cats, with Up the Junction. So this is 1993. I don't remember this album very well, unfortunately, and I'm trying to think if everyone's back in it. Someone's going to tell me right now that they know better, because you probably know better than I do. Is Jules in it? Recorded at 45 RPM, Blackheath, London. Yeah, it does have Paul Carrick and Chris Dilford, Glenn Tilbrook, Keith Wilkinson, and Pete Thomas. Pete Thomas. So it doesn't have Jules Holland. Wasn't Jules Holland was in? Yeah. Anyway, that's the last Whack-A-Mole CD edition, Squeeze, Some Fantastic Place, and I will admit, I don't know this album really well. You know, those albums you have in your collection, you have a lot, you get for some reason. I don't even remember buying this record. I think maybe someone gave it to me. What label is this on? A&M Records? Could have got a promo, but this doesn't stamp promo. Anyway, that's the Whack-A-Mole Coffee Bean by Mail edition. Thank you, vinyl community, and just believe the truth. Don't believe what you read on Twitter, as he loves you.